Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Isaiah Houston, co-founder of Ground Game, an exciting new Yu-Gi-Oh channel for Duelists by Duelist. And I am here with
Sam.
So, Sam, what did you do this past weekend?
Second Gamers Choice Regionals, located in Edison, New Jersey, and I made top 8 playing tennis Sword Souls.
We got top 8 at Tenny Sword Soul at the GC Regional. And what number top this is for you?
For regionals, I guess this is my 39th regionals top 8.
That's pretty impressive. So how did you feel about how the deck performed this past weekend?
Basically, I've been playing tennis Sword Souls for a while. All you guys probably know me as Sword Soul Sam. I've been playing it since release, since Protos and all that. I stopped playing it when Adventures came out because I thought Adventures was just overwhelming for the deck. I came back to it after its increase of play, after the advent of Despia. The format changed. Like, you remember when Prank Kids was #1 and then Despia came out, it kind of became weird. Like, it was like no hand traps, no Nibiru. That's when I started picking up Sword Souls again to take advantage of the fact that no one was playing Nibiru. But now the format's a bit different. Hand traps are back in the format, but I think Tennis Sword Souls is still a strong pick. Like, I was looking, so basically I evaluate results. I look at the metagame results every week of regionals, what's been topping everywhere. Like, I've been seeing a lot of Sword Soul decks been topping, but the Sword Souls lists that I've been seeing, I've been questioning a lot of choices, like main deck DD Crow, main deck Bell, and like Vessel. Like, I don't agree with those choices, and I will explain why in this video.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over key cards and like Sword Sword. Pretty much everybody knows like how the deck functions. So we just really want to get down to nitty gritty of like why you play certain cards. So the first thing is obviously you mentioned Vessel. So why no Vessel?
Vessel's a very win more card. Like, alright, so in the beginning of Sword Souls, I did not like Vessel at all. This is when Sword Souls first came out. I remember everyone was playing Vessels, like 2-3 copies, but I was beginning to notice this trend. Vessel is horrible with Sword Soul cards. Like, say if I summon Moi, activate effect, they go Valor Imperm. My Vessel is looking dumb in my hand. Like, that card is not very good in that situation. A different card called Heavenly Dragon Circle was discovered during that format. That card is superior to Vessel. Vessel only works with certain hands if you open a 10U monster. But if you open up Vessel with, like, say, a hand trap defensive card or with a Sword Soul, that card is a blank card in your hand. That card is not very good. You could say the same thing about Heavenly, but Heavenly reacts better going second. Heavenly is chainable, and Heavenly, it adds you any Sword Soul card. So say if you go first, you can add a missing piece like a Longian or something to advance your game state. And it's a way to beat hand traps like Gamma, Nib, Imperm, Valor. That card just beats all those common threats to the deck. Therefore, I think Heavenly is a better card than Vessel.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I don't like Vessel personally. I like Heavenly personally because two things. It solves the inherent problem of the deck where if you don't draw multiple starter, or like your Shishao doesn't search a starter, then sometimes you do lack follow-up with Sword Soul. So you can do a play with like Shishao, Blackout, and then chain link to tribute the Shishao and then add a card. So that kind of gives you like a tie for follow-up while still resolving the blackout. Like you said, Heavenly is just dead less of the time, right? So like even in your worst hand, so you could draw 3 hand traps and then any Tenyi and then have like a Heavenly in hand. And then that's still like Shishao because you could just special add tie banish, Whereas like Vessel is like not always live, like, it just seems like Heavenly's live more times.
I don't win a lot of dice rolls. I always go second. Like, Heavenly is just amazing going second. I don't like playing 3 of once per turn cards. I understand Heavenly is a good card. I don't want to see more than one Heavenly going first or second. A hard once per turn, but for both effects. Then I want to play this at 3, and I wanted to keep this deck at 40 to 41 as max.
Did you ever clog on normal summons throughout the tournament? Because I do notice you play 3 Ecclesia, and there are people that like whether play 40 card lists, 41, 42, they're this big on 3 Ecclesia. So it's very powerful going second. Personally, if I'm playing 40 to 41, I like 2 Ecclesia, just because I don't want to draw like Mo Yo Ecclesia or be like forced to play into Ash going first. But obviously, like Ecclesia is so superior going second, plays through so much. So like, how did you feel about Ecclesia as a 3 of?
I was talking to a friend about this as well. Phil and I, we were talking about Sword Souls. He uses my decks too for the tournaments at locals because he wants to learn this deck. I feel like Ecclesia could be at 2. I used to play 2 for the last format with Despia. Ecclesia at 3 gives you a higher percentage of seeing a play going first, but it sucks seeing more than one going first. I agree. Going second, it's just like one of the best cards to pair up with like a Taya or Moye or Long Young. You just eat through a lot of interrupts with a combination of any of those cards.
Definitely. There's so many times like if you special Ecclesia, normal Moye, even if you don't use effect, just put so much pressure, especially under like calamities or anything. Like even in bird format, there was times like I just won games after they dusted me because I just special Ecclesia, summoned Moye, and then had like maybe a hand trap and was able to make like a berserker for their turn. Like it's good. I definitely think for me personally, I'd try like 2 if I'm at 40 or 41. But if I'm going to like 43 or more, then I'm like, all right, you gotta just play 3.
It's like I remember someone in your Discord and ground game was telling me about the math of playing 8 normal summons compared to 7 normal summons in a 40 to 41 card deck.
So here at Ground Game, I think I was one of the admins. We're big on just theory. We're big on just like the math behind deck building. So definitely join the Discord if you want to improve at the game and just talk with some really cool people. So how did you feel about droplets? Because it's something we talked about personally before the event. My personal opinion is I think based on how the format is right now, you have to play droplets in SWORDSOUL because droplets is so high impact, especially like game 1. It does, in theory, suck sometimes because you have to pitch card advantage of droplets, and then you still want to resolve Long Young. It doesn't always give you pluses. You have to discard a card from Long Young too. So how did you feel about that?
I've always been a fan of Chalice. I've always liked Chalice over droplets in the beginning because Chalice trades 1-for-1 with Token Collective. That's like the biggest threat for the deck. Well, Droplet, you have to neg 1 to react to a Token Collector. I made this deck list for this event to be more reactive than interactive. Most Sorcerer decks play 3 Ash, 3 Infirm, 3 Veiler, or maybe like DDCO or Nibiru in their main decks. I've seen a lot of deck lists online. Since Scything Calamities is getting more popularity, I want my deck to be reactive than interactive. Like, say, like play on their turn, I'd rather play brick boards on my turn. So before I was testing Drone Lockbird, I felt Drone Lockbird was mediocre because I would still get Scythe block. So I cut Drone Lockbird entirely, and I played 3 Droplets, 3 Chalice, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. As you can see on my side deck, I side deck 2 Foolish Return. I have a good chance of seeing one of those as my 6th card and interacting with their Scythe.
You have a good chance of opening one, and then you have a good chance of seeing one. And I think as through my testing of SWORDSOUL too, I kind of liked, like if I had draw Imperm or Chalice, like sometimes I wouldn't even use my Imperm on their turn. Like I'd use it on my turn. Because it changes different lines of play, just like psychologically that my opponent may do if certain things are stopped or certain things are interrupted. Also, a lot of times, like Imperm on their turn likely won't be enough not to get side locked. So I kind of like that idea of like trying to be more reactive as a SWORDSOUL player, especially with these like pseudo FTK decks running around.
My friend Tristan Bridges gave me this idea of board breaking. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to Tristan Bridges. He helped me. We was just talking about this deck all week. Was theorizing. Shout outs to him for all the help he provided me. And we were just talking about this deck, and he was telling me how he feels board breaking is more efficient than hand traps in the SWORDSOUL deck. And I agree because say if you could react to if you could prevent Scythe from coming out, you should be able to win the game because this deck has engines that just breaks boards naturally, like the Tendies and Long Yun and Taya making Tabaxias and Yazis. Like this deck is just naturally amazing at breaking boards. So I agree.
Yeah.
I agree on cards like Chalice and Droplets for this deck.
Yeah, especially with like the Punk Adventure being more and more popular, and like they're playing so many hand traps to try and like stop like the mirror and just different things that are running around the meta, which means like talents is becoming popular. And I think if you kind of play that way too, like we just make talents like dead. I've seen a lot of times like people would like have dead talents against me because I would just hold my like Imperm Chalices. I just wasn't like on those hand traps. I just want to ask you, as far as like a reactive hand trap, what do you feel about Ghost Ogre in the format right now? I feel like it's a card that's good going first or second right now. as you can obviously hit Faithful, you can obviously hit Formula Synchron, and you can hit Wonder Magician. If
I was actually thinking about fitting Ghost Ogre somewhere in my deck, but I couldn't. I thought my choices in the side deck was okay. Was acceptable, and Ghost Ogre seems very interesting. But I don't think it fully stops their turns. Like, well, if I Ghost Ogre a Faithful Adventure, they still can go Christian Halka 5X combos. You need to pair it up with something. That's how I feel on the card. But yeah,
yeah,
it is
I
a very
think
interesting.
regardless of what we're playing, like interactive or like reactive, like you always need pairs and multiples or
Yep.
something. So there's nothing that you would change in the main deck.
It depends on the format, how it goes, and I'll make some few changes here and there. But right now, I think the 41 cards in this deck is solid.
And you like the Fire Tenny, like you never miss
Oh,
Shatana or anything like that.
so basically, shout outs to Calvin. I saw his deck list playing Mapura, and shout outs to him for starting this trend. I think the Fire Tenny is amazing because it can give Boxy the ability to shuffle two. And what the thing is with the Fire Tenny, you can stop a blackout in the mirror match. So
Mhm.
say they use blackout, target your two guys. You can banish the Mapura to negate that if they target your non-effect monster. And the Shatana never came up for me. Like the one that summoned the summons to pop never really came up.
Okay, now going to the extra deck. I think the only thing like not standard, you kind of have like one flex spot in this deck, two maybe if you want to like go down to two monks or like don't like shaman or like Chao Fang, but I think it's only really like one because like all those cards are like really good, especially now that hand traps are back in. You just have to play the Chao Fang. How do you feel about the lineup? Would you consider like Psychic and Punisher as a reverse Punisher out, or just a card that like steals games, or you think like pairing the Lina with obviously like the nibs in the side is like just more crucial?
I feel like Psychic and Punisher is not needed because you're gonna go what Tenny and Ecclesia. If I had Tenny and Ecclesia, I'd rather go. I'd rather break boards with that instead of wasting those two for a level 11 Psychic and Punisher.
I know it comes up sometimes though. I was
I
playing
guess summon Ashina, then Moye, reveal a worm in your hand, and then summon the token. I guess, but I don't know. It's awkward. This card is nice. Don't
it's
get me.
awkward. People were like playing it at Hartford a lot, but like I really didn't like. I like the idea of it because you do want a Punisher out because like the only out will be like a Sheng Ying at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like the best choice. I'm not sure how they go into it.
Psychic and Punisher did not make the cut on my list. Instead, I put Lightning the Light Charmer because I decided to put Nibiru in my set deck. So the idea is if I nib. So personally do not like nib because it prevents you from using with your best cards, the Tenny monsters. But uh, Nibiru is just, I noticed I feel I did not play Dimensional Barrier at all. So I feel like my Sword Soul matchup is weaker than the average Sword Soul deck list that do play Dimensional Barrier. So I decided to play three Nibs instead. And with
Mhm.
Nib is just a blowout card in the mirror. I feel like if I go Nib and then I summon random monster, I could go make Lina, crash into the token by putting the token attack, and then summon Ecclesia. That was the game plan for Lina. But yeah, Lina never came up. It's just that Lina's just in the flex spot. I feel the other cards are so necessary, like Shaman, Cheng, the Chao Fang, the three monks. Those are I think Chao Fang's insane.
Yeah.
Chao Fang, Chao Fang is actually crazy in the mirror too. Because if you make a Chao Fang, the board with Chao Fang, Chi Shao, and Long Yon, and like a set blackout or something. Like I don't see you losing the game at all because Chao Feng prevents them from using Ashina, Baxia, and Ecclesia. Those are like key war
And
breakers in
Chisel.
Grandmaster. And Chisha and Grandmaster. They can't use any of those
Oh,
cards. And if you pop Chao Feng with a blackout, you can get an Ash Blossom or a follow up with a Glacier. So it just gives you more follow ups. So
I
this is
don't
that's
love I don't love Chao Fang, but you just have to play it since we have no Hauka Fibrax. I mean, we have Hauka Fibrax. We just don't have a Rordon. I mean,
it's a safety net for Nibiru or Gamma or Baylor. Like they have to react to this card. Oh, to the box deal with the Arahara before summoning Chao Feng. So that's what I like about Chao Feng.
and it's just a blowout too against
Yeah, I've always
Raiton.
played in my social list too. And against Raiton. Raiton is picking up back up.
My only thing with Chao Feng, I feel like if you're gonna go for the Chao Feng play, like your hand has to already be pretty crazy. Because like if you just have like standard like 3 card combo, Mo Yi, Worm, or like Long Young access, then you're basically like saying that if they have like Imperm or something for my Mo Yi, then I'm ending on like Mo Yi with Chao Feng. That used to happen a lot in like Sword Soul format, where like people would go for the Chao Feng play and then just get their Mo Yi Imperm. So,
Remember that
but
happened that 3v3 we played and I lost because of that, but you guys won.
yeah, that play is it's kind of like scary, but I like it if your hand is crazy. You can kind of use it as a nip checker. So yeah, it's Chao Fang. The other card that I like is the Draco Masters. But I just think since hand traps are back in the format and Despia is like decreased in popularity, then like you just want to play the liner just so we can like put nib in the deck. And in a side deck, obviously 3 nibs. I want to ask you about this. Since I'm seeing a lot of anti spells in the format right now, um, did you like? Obviously, the Lightning Storm is really good in the mirror match. You also like? Do you side in Duster in the mirror match, Feather Duster?
In the rematch, I choose to pick second. If you see my deck list, I'm not playing Dimensional Barrier at all. Right now, I
Mm-hmm.
think Dimensional Barrier is not very good because the Punk Adventure deck is seeing number one play, like number one, after looking at all the results, like at regionals, events, Punk Adventure is taking number one spot. Dimensional Barrier does not do anything to that matchup. Instead of Dimensional Barrier, I elected to play a superior called Rivalry of the Warlords. I think every social deck should be playing 3 of these cards. Let me explain Rivalry of Warlords. Basically, Rivalry of Warlords allows you to beat the two biggest threats to this deck: Token Collector and Nibiru. If you get hit by a Token Collector, you can set Rivalry, and the decks and Token Collector's a fee. So if they summon a monster, you flip Rivalry, and they have to choose if they want to keep Collector or choose the monster. Either way, they're gonna be locked out because the decks that play Token Collector are usually not mono type decks. Uh they all play mixed types like Psychic, Warrior, Machine, like the Punk Adventure deck. That deck just auto loses to Rivalry. And another thing with rivalries is you have rivalry with warlords. Your opponent cannot activate Nibiru on you because they're giving you a rock tech token. So that came up sometimes, but rivalry just handles all the good decks right now. Like it handles Punk Adventure, Despia, and like another reason why I play rivalry is because I play Droplets and Talus and Infirm. Say if I get hit by a safe block or calamity block, I can six. I side rivalry going second. I know not a lot of people do that, but I think it's correct for this deck because I'm playing Chalice, Droplets, and Emperor. I can set those cards like a regular Eldritch deck. Like this deck is basically a better Eldritch deck. I can set cards and then pass, and on their turn they could overcommit, and then I'll flip rivalry, and if they try to negate the rivalry, I'll just drop Vincent or Chalice or Emperor, and their whole board is gonna get wiped out. That's why I remember I did this with testing with a friend of mine. He was playing Libromancer. He sight blocked me and everything, but I broke his board because of droplets and Imperm. Like I had rivalry, and I had 2 rivalries, and he couldn't beat that. So and Libromancers are all different typings, so he just lost that. And rivalry just it's another board breaker. That's how I see it. This card is
Yeah.
amazing. I feel every Sourceful deck going towards the national season should be playing 3 of this card. It's correct to play 3 of this card.
Yeah, and then so like against the punk decks, you just have like the three rivalry, three anti-spell, and you just cut out the low impact cards like going first, like droplets, imperm. You keep the chalice in for collector, and just like very clean.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I mean, did you play any Despia? I think that's the last thing I
Oh,
wanted to talk about.
yeah, I actually played two Despia decks. If you do you mind if I go over my like round by one round, like what decks I played against?
Yeah,
So round one, I played against Striketons, 2-0. Uh, round two, I played against Destia. He got me game one, but I beat him game two and three. Uh, game three, I just impermed his Oliver, and he set one, and I had full combo. I had Lightning Storm and full combo. He lost. Game three, I played against a 60 card Grand Module Adventurer deck playing Dangers. He beat me game one. He OTK'd me. Game two and three, I know how to play against those type of decks, or Grand Module decks. So the thing is, play around Lightning Storm, like don't overcommit, and I beat him. Round four, I played against you actually. He was playing Earth Machines, and he took me to game three, and I lost to Golden Match.
Floodgate's crazy.
Yeah, Golden Match destroys my deck. That's the secret of being short souls. Golden Match. After that, I won out. Round five, I played against Evil Twins. Um, I told him game two he actually side blocked me, but I still won somehow. Um, round six I played against my teammate Elias. He was also on Earth Machines. He told me to go first game two. I had Lightning Storm because I thought I was gonna go second. I make my board. He cracked it, and then he sets two pass. I had tie in hand. I draw for turn. I Lightning Stormed his back rows, which were two Ghost matches. That's insane. And then I summoned Ty and he scoops from there. So yeah, that's how it went.
Yeah,
Round seven, yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah. I thought I was gonna go second. That's why I kept Lightning Storming.
Yeah,
Round
that's always a
seven,
double edge. That's always a double edged sword, right? Like you put your opponent second, thinking that brick gonna go second cards. If you don't actually OTK, like they might still have those go second cards in the hand. So at the end of your battle phase, you make it evenly. They may have the lightning storm, depending if you broke their board entirely. Yeah, there's just things to think about. I don't tend to like that strategy most of the time. I always want, like, if my deck wants to go first, I always want to do what my deck wants to do. But yeah,
yeah.
interesting thought.
Round seven, I played against another teammate, Kosi. He was on a Punk Adventure. Uh, I won game one with a really horrible hand, but it was Vashuda, Longyun, Sword Soul Blackout, Ash, and Forbidden Drop. I bricked. So I made Longyun set Droplet set Blackout pass. But Long Young was, he told me that Long Young was so much of a threat that he couldn't play. Like, he couldn't activate his teleport, he couldn't activate his rights, because everything would just get banished. So, Long Young held me down there. I negated this, I negated his Fairy Tale Snow with Droplet, and, like, I just came back from, like, uh, a grind game. And game two,
Why did you
I
choose
won.
Long One over Sheng Ying there?
Oh, so Long Young, because Long Young, making blind Long Young is better than blind Changing or Baron because Long Young can banish cards, banish Faithful Adventure, banish special summons. It's just more applications to this card than Changing when you go first. Changing is just a finisher. Like it's good in simplified game states. You're gonna win if you make the Changing in simplified game state. That's how I see it. But Long Young is just better going first. Yeah. Round eight, I play against Despia Brave, Adventure Despia. It was weird because I haven't seen this build since like April. He was playing Enforcer, all the adventure cards, Pot of Prosperities, Great, and Despia. It was like the Despia decks that everyone that the OCG was playing. He was playing that exact copy, and yeah, got him to game three, one. And last round, I played against Sword Souls. We got into game three. and I finished X1, and I got 5th after.
That's what's up, man. I've been thinking about playing like 2 CROSSOUT for the mirror, but it's so hard right now. Like things aside, you know.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of crossouts in this deck because sometimes crossouts can be dead, and in this deck, you don't want any dead cards. You want every card to be live, so you can break boards and play the game. That's why I did never like crossout in this deck. I think crossout's good
You
in
never
decks.
you never played CROSSOUT back in SWORDSOUL format? CROSSOUT on BLACKOUT is insane.
No, I actually did it. I played 3 heavenly circles and 3 chalices. I didn't see a reason to play Presto. And back then, I feel like D-Bear wasn't that. D-Bear was nice, but we had Protos, so it wasn't all the end of all end all. You know, Protos is insane.
But no, that was great, and congrats on another top. And I'm hope to see you get another top at nationals with SWORDSOUL. I assume you play that, so. But yeah.
Thank you for having me on your channel. I would like to do shout outs.
Okay.
Yeah, shout outs. So shout outs to my team and my sponsor, Team Bag. Uh, I appreciate everything that this team has done, and you know we're gonna we're gonna take it. You know, Team Bag. That's what's up. And shout outs to Gamers Choice for hosting this Marvelous Regionals and hosting this nice event. Shout outs to Gamers Choice. Shout outs to that's also my locals, and shout outs to Xeno Zero. Shout outs to Hyde. Uh, I, uh, I, I got mad love for his locals too. And shout outs to Laundry. Shout outs to Tristan Bridges for helping me out with this deck. And shout outs to Pro Phil uh, from Bag. And shout outs to you, of course, Isaiah and Ground Game. You guys, I really like your group. I really like what you're doing for the community. And I want to be a part of it. Thank you for having me on this channel.
Appreciate it, man. All right. That's a wrap. That was pretty good. Yeah, I might actually try your list out card for card. I think it was pretty solid.
Stand your ground.